Hi friends, I'm Liz.
I'm Robby. Welcome back to our channel Bookworm Couple. Today we are going to be talking about the second book I've given Liz to read and the second book in the Wheel of Time series, The Great Hunt.
Have it again.
We actually have a physical copy.
From the library. It is a very, very well-loved paperback. Makes me very happy.
What are your initial thoughts upon finishing the book?
I liked it a lot better than the first.
That's great. That's all we can ask.
Initially. I will say, it started out with a bang. I was real excited about it. And then I kind of hit a slump with it. And then I was ramped up again at the end by the story, as far as how I felt like the story moved.
Yeah,
I was very
intrigued
by the beginning of the story. It was different, which I'm now kind of noticing is a theme of like, there's this little mini story that's happening at the beginning and we're never going to talk about it again.
Sure, yes.
At all.
So overall, but you did enjoy it more than the first?
Yes, I did.
Great, that's awesome. So why don't you give us a super brief synopsis, and I mean like the briefest, because this is still supposed to be the spoiler-free part of the video.
The briefest synopsis.
So just like, what is the idea of what this book is
Literally,
about?
it is a great hunt. Period. We're
For
on the
what?
hunt for the Horn of Valir, and Aes Sedai are hanging out. I can't, literally so much happened in this book. I don't even know. I mean, overall, in general,
that's why this is making
the
me laugh.
The whole crew is on a hunt for the Horn of Valir / to save their friends at some point. So it is definitely a great hunt, and that is all.
Great. I think the first one was great too. I was just enjoying you struggling with the impossible task that I had given you.
Literally.
Spoiler warning, going forward, we're going to be doing a discussion of some more of the details of the book. If you have not read it yet, I would suggest waiting, coming back, watching this later. So the first thing I was wondering is, how has your opinion on the Emmonsfield Five and our main gang of heroes evolved over the course of this book?
Well, you're asking me this because you know
Yes.
a little bit.
Well, also because it's a very relevant question.
Yes, I love the ladies. Love the girls. We didn't get a lot of Matt and Perrin this time around. I loved Perrin in the first book. Matt definitely grew on me in this book.
Sure.
Rand, I still don't care about. So don't hate me, internet. I don't care about Rand. I tried. I will say, I was a bit more interested in him this book than the last book. I think we got a little bit more of his inner voice. Rand is growing on me. He is not my favorite character.
I feel like you're being polite.
No, I'm not.
Some of the conversations we've had.
No, I know. I don't care about him is the thing. And so a lot of times when there are many passages where we're in Rand's head, I'm not interested. There were, near the end of the book, I feel like he felt a bit more human to me.
Sure.
There was a bit more there for me. But I still don't find him the most interesting or compelling character in of the five. Nynaeve's my girl. I know she's like kind of annoying, but I do like her. Her and Egwene. I like the girls. Well, I would say my favorite characters in this book, I started mentally calling them the Tarvalon Spice Girls, because it was Min,
Who?
Nynaeve.
Oh, okay.
Well, we went to Tarvalon this year. Nynaeve this year in the book. Nynaeve
This year at Wheel of Time High.
This year at Wheel of Time High. We went Tarvalon High would be probably the way. We ended up in Tarvalon with Egwene and Nynaeve, and they ended up meeting up with Elaine and Min. And I love Elaine and Min, and so having the four of them together I love them. I liked their dynamic. I thought it was really fun. I think I wrote in my notes, instant besties? Yes!
Yeah, they're great.
Literally, they all met and was just like, we are the best of friends in the world. And I think they all bring a little bit something different to the crew, and I loved the dynamic of the girls. That was my favorite part of this book. I was looking forward to any chapter with my Spice Girls.
And you know what's great is what brings most of them together is
my
their
least
love of
favorite
Rand.
thing. Hot take.
Not a hot take.
It's not a hot take?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
I don't
it
think
was
it's
a
hot take.
I feel hot about it.
That's
and
great.
not a sexy hot, an angry hot, annoyed hot, I don't think. It was just an eye roll is what I wrote. Everybody loves Rand, eye roll. That was what I wrote. Because that was one of, again, we have these girls, we have this dynamic, it's so awesome. And one of the first thing they talk about is that they're all in love with Rand, except for Nynaeve. Maybe that's why I like Nynaeve so much. But that's one of the topics they first talk about. Egwene, duh, we get that. Hometown love. Elaine and him had like a cute, meet cute situation. They seem very destined to be together. That's a hot take for later on. Min's smarter than that. That I didn't buy that for 1 second, that she is ogling Rand. No. That this is the, like... I will say, I am glad that it wasn't constantly a thing between them, and it wasn't really even like a competition between them.
Sure.
There are little bits that are thrown in there, which I think would realistically be a thing amongst women who are all attracted to the same person. But it wasn't much of a competition, which that would have, I think I would have shut off entirely if it was like this like obnoxious competition. But it really wasn't. There were a few funny bits that the girls threw at each other, kind of in competition for their love of Rand, but not too much of it. Not my favorite part. Least favorite part.
It's just gonna get so
I
much
disagree
better.
No! More people are gonna fall in love with Rand!
Were there any other characters or plot lines specifically that you really enjoyed in this book, or any characters that you maybe didn't like as much in the first that kind of stood out to you more this time around?
I am excited that we got more Aes Sedai.
Sure.
Varen
that's just
is
gonna keep happening.
Great. She's such a cool, like, one-level chick in a way of, she feels like a yogi almost, like a very meditative, like, she knows what's happening in the world, but she's all just like, she's keeping everyone in line in a really grounded, aligned way. Love her. I think that was the first note I put was, yay, Aes Sedai! Because I'm very interested in the Aes Sedai, and I want more Aes Sedai, and I want to know more about their channeling and the school and Tar Valon, and I'm sure I'm going to get more of that. Hopefully I get more of that.
You will.
I really liked it. I found Leandrin very funny. I know she's not a funny character, but there were a few, they gave her enough, like, flirty moments that I thought was very funny.
Interesting.
There was funny is not the right word. I think there was something about her that intrigued me, and there were a few funny moments. There was a quote that I wrote down that I thought was so funny. She was talking about one of the 3 boys, and she said, like, something like, you're tall, where were you when I was 15? And I was like, oh, okay, sexy Leandrin.
Yeah.
You definitely tell she's sassy, which I enjoy. Obviously, she kind of sucks, but I don't know.
She's also, she is
I find,
but there's that.
I find her pretty intriguing. I loved Huron, who was a character we did not meet in the first book. We met in this book. He's a sniffer. Magical, I don't know what you would even call that. Some sort of... They're apparently okay with, like, this sort of guy magic situation.
Yeah, it's the type of magic that they're comfortable with.
This is like an okay magic.
Perrin is too far.
Perrin being a wolf, well, I did think it was very funny that, like, Perrin and Huron and Mat and Rand all meet up together, and they're with the Shinarans?
Yeah.
Shinarans?
Probably pronouncing that terribly, but yes.
I am probably pronouncing it terribly. But, Perrin's obviously got his wolfie powers, and they bring along Huron. They're like, he can find anyone, his scent is so great, and Perrin's like, got it, cool. Yeah, totally a sniffer, I'm a sniffer.
Yeah.
Also me. I was like, brilliant, there you go. Yeah, keep yourself out of trouble, because, like, basically you kind of have the same skill set when you put your mind to it, so.
That is very funny.
I loved Huron. Thought that journey was really interesting.
Which journey?
The journey, like the book as a journey in a whole.
Yes,
there were a lot of little journeys within the journey. I feel like this was 6 different books within one.
Yes.
Like we got so many. And I think I really struggled with this book, keeping everyone straight and also the different cities and types of cultures straight, because after a while, because we were skipping so much, we'd spend 100+ pages with a certain chunk of characters and then switch back to somebody else, and I struggled. I will say that was one thing that I'm really glad that I had watched the show. I'm not normally a show watcher before I read a book. If I want to read a book series and I know it's being made into a movie or television series, I like to read the book first. Yeah. So this was the first for me, but I really enjoyed it. I will say it did help me because I had physical people that I knew were certain characters.
Sure.
And so that helped me with the names, because there are so many names, so many places. I am still a big mess whilst reading these books. of like, where is that? Who are they? Why are they mad?
Yeah, that's normal.
What's that name?
That's totally normal.
So I really struggled with that in this book because we had so many different perspectives and so many different journeys within the one journey. I did like that it all came together at the end.
Yeah.
Like everyone's hunt came together at the very end of the book. And it was also fun to see all of the characters together, if for just a few pages, because we haven't had the the whole crew together in a really long time. And I liked that. I liked that portion of it a lot. Okay, I have to bring up one of my favorite parts of the book was when we meet Celine. Rand meets Celine, hot sexy babe. Absolutely loves her. He's obviously like fumbling his way through it. I liked that the theme continued in this one of the first book of all of the Emmons Field boys being like, oh, well, Parents better with girls. Oh, well, Rand's better with girls. Matt's better with girls. I thought that was very funny.
It's a good bit.
It's a very good bit, and it really is, it's sweet. It's a sweet part of their relationship that I love having a little eye into. I wish I could find the quote when Loyal sees Celine and just like word vomits, like, you're the prettiest person I've ever seen in my life. It is so endearing and just so cute. And Rand is like, get anything out there, man. And Loyal's like, what? I had to say it. Like, he literally is like not even embarrassed. Yep. And I love Loyal. He's brilliant. I want to go to Loyal's library and just sit with him and read books while he sings to trees.
Yeah, he's the best.
Oh my god,
he's one of my favorite.
He is a delightful character.
Supporting characters in this entire series. He's
so great.
So great. Including, and also another one, Tom.
Yeah, I love him. Back from the dead. I knew he wasn't dead.
But having a really tragic plot line in this, so sad.
His poor girlfriend.
He's had a hard life, that man.
Yes, I would love to get more of his backstory.
You're gonna.
Yes! Okay, cool. Because he's cool, and I mean, like I said, in the first book, I was like, he's not dead. I've read enough fantasy to know when you're dead and you're not dead. And you know what I mean? So I was like, he's definitely not dead. And also, like, Moraine was saying things about him. I was like, oh, you can't kill that guy. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. When's he coming back?
Yeah, because obviously the, like, world's equivalent of, like, a bard/jester is somehow really good at fighting.
Which also, into it. Like, that's why I want
really
more of Tom's story.
Yeah,
he's a very human character that I find very interesting.
What parts of the various plot lines really spoke to you? What were the parts that really got you into the book and kept you reading, as opposed to the parts where it slowed down and you really struggled?
One bit that really stuck out to me was Nynaeve's journey through the Arches. And I looked that on the television show as well, but I thought it was really interesting how they did it in the book. Her 3 very different journeys that were very emotional. The first one especially I thought was like very creepy. It's just like her and potentially, she's like there's a maze.
Yeah.
And she talks about how she used to do mazes when she was a child, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of a cool deep cut. And to hear her kind of like go through that and try to escape from this man with very creepy energy, or whatever the dark energy was that was chasing her through this maze. And then this is where I like Nynaeve, because she's like, well, I gotta kill him. That's like her first, like literally immediately she's like, oh, there's this bad guy in here, well, gotta end him.
Yeah,
and then she like sees the gates, and you know the classic like they will only come back one time.
Yes.
And she hears it and she's like, well, like literally in her head she's still like, well, I gotta kill him first, like I gotta get rid of this terrible energy. I thought that was a really well done, very long, but very well done section. What I had felt was missing in the first book, and I'm just starting to get it in this one, I am a very emotional reader.
Sure.
I read because I want to get to know the characters. I want to escape with them, but to me, I think that escaping into the world is when these characters become a part of me or my friends, when I know them on a deep level, and I like to get to the really nitty-gritty emotionalness, the backstory. I want to go through their hardships with them. I want to learn what makes them happy. I just want more of emotion, and I think I get a little bit of that with the girls, especially with Nynaeve. For some reason, I feel like we get more into her head, and maybe that's just because she's a more emotional character. That's what I feel like I'm missing with Rand. I don't feel like I get that emotional connection with Rand. It all seems a little bit surface level, and maybe that is because we're reliving these same things he's trying to process over and over again, rather than allowing himself to process them. He's just kind of sitting in this can't be true, this can't be true, this can't be true, this can't be true, over and over again rather than processing it. I want to get in.
I mean, how many teenage boys do you know that have the emotional maturity to deal with things in such a healthy manner?
I don't know, but let's start. Yeah, I crave an emotional, deep knowledge of a character, and that's just what I really want. First of all, okay, let's talk about the
Shanchan. We haven't even brought them up
yet. The
yet.
Shanchan, brilliant villain.
Fantastic.
Absolutely
so
horrifying. Yeah. I don't find Bialzman scary at all. I think we've seen so much of him. Rand has battled him multiple times now, and even just like chatted with him multiple times, and so it seems very casual to me. He seems not very frightening. The description of him, horrifying.
Sure.
But I started to interpret it, his character and his interactions with Rand, of being like, he just kind of seems lonely and he wants to hang out with his friend Lews Therin. Like, that's how the reaction,
maybe that's the
interaction
case.
Started to feel for me, of him being like that angry, misunderstood, lonely person that they just had a friend. I don't know. I don't find the character very terrifying at all. Very threatening. Yeah, sure. and not interesting, but that's kind of how I started to interpret it. But the Shanchan, holy crap, they scare me. They scare me because their whole demeanor is, we're doing the right thing. Everything we're doing is right. This is the good for everyone. Even when they're doing horrible things, there's this culty mindset of them and their followers of like, this is just what we do. And I find that horrifying, but also so intriguing. I am so intrigued by their culture, and not really, I don't know, I'm just intrigued by the characters. I find them very frightening. I think they're brilliantly written villains. Very curious to see how we deal with them in the future. So, the Soldam Demane, again, absolutely horrifying. Like, so scary, and then also bringing in just like the female energy of like not wanting to be controlled and being told what to do and who you are and what you need to be. Kind of, for me, metaphorically, that's how I see this relationship, and women not working together with unleashing their power. So I find that very scary as well. I was a little bit disappointed in our journey with Egwene in it, because it was obviously meant to be very, very hard time for her in a very intense situation. But I feel like because we didn't really experience any of that with her, once she was out of it, once her friends came and saved her, it just felt kind of like, okay, cool. And in the show,
Spoilers for season 2 of the Wheel of Time television show, if you have not watched it.
I thought how that, and it was basically only one episode, which it's honestly a really short portion of this book. And I was kind of surprised, having watched the show, I felt like it could have been so long. Because obviously Egwene is going through this really hard, torturous process with this crappy people. But it's a very short portion, but to go through it with her made me feel like I wanted her to be vindicated. Whereas like in this, there was so much her experience with the Soldam. Her Soldam?
Yeah.
We only ever really got it through her conversation with her friends after the fact. Not that I want to sit through Egwene being tortured at all. That sounds horrible. But I think because I didn't experience any of it with her, it felt so like, And then she's so upset afterwards. And yes, I get it. It's a very crappy thing, but it didn't hit very hard for me. And I thought it would, because the idea of it in general is horrifying. You know, these women controlling other women with a collar on their neck, controlling their magic. I assumed it was going to be a really emotional piece for me, and I really just felt like it fell flat.
That's so interesting, because I haven't, full disclosure, I haven't read this book in a while, but I remember having an entirely different experience. I remember thinking that it was quite impactful. I don't remember feeling that I still think that, I think that that's one of the relatively few things that the show did quite well, really well. I thought. But I don't remember ever feeling in the books that was not handled to the extent that I thought it should have been. So I guess it just goes to show I apparently need to reread this or
see how you feel.
Yeah,
I don't know, but maybe you'd feel the same because we're very different people.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
so I'm like I said, I'm in it for the emotional journeys with each character.
I don't know. I remember feeling when I read it that I thought that it was handled well. I thought that it was handled well enough that I found that all of the effects it had on Egwene and her character and the choices that she made going forward were justified. And I remember it being a dark and terrible thing that happened to this character that I thought was explored relatively well, in my opinion. But
I'd be curious. I mean, here's the thing: I can't go back. I would be curious, like how I would have felt about it had I read it first and not seen
the
show,
interesting.
because I thought that was so emotional and like I was so moved by it and frustrated, and I felt so many emotions. So I went into this assuming I would have the same feeling, and I just was like, wait, that was what? It just felt like a throwaway.
Sure.
At least the exit of it, the end of when Egwene's Spice Girls come and release her. Okay, I have to bring up my least favorite part of the book real quick. When it's Elaine and Nynaeve and Min are all in Falm, they're gonna help and free their friend Egwene, which is awesome. Love it. Love them doing that. More power to them. They're talking about, this is the moment in which Egwene tells her friends about what has been happening to her and how bad it was and how horrible it was, and it was an emotional moment, and out of nowhere, Elaine's like, Rand would have killed someone like that. I know he would. What? Why are we talking about Rand? Why are we talking about Rand? Why are we talking about Rand?
Because everything's about Rand.
No, everything is not about Rand. I also,
is.
in this moment, with these powerful women doing powerful things, no, they would not have brought up this man that they all kind of love. No.
Kind of love.
I can't. There was another very funny quote from Min later, like literally a chapter later, because they're all saving Rand at this point. And she's like, I like older men and smart ones, not shepherds. And then she's like, well, I guess you're not a shepherd. I'm like, oh, come on, Elaine, or Wynn, whoever, all of you like Rand. That made me so mad, because I was like, no, we're not talking about Rand in this girl power moment. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I love Elaine, so I'm not mad at her for it.
You're just mad at Robert Jordan.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
That's fair.
Let's talk about the ending, the final battle.
The final battle, and Matt blowing the horn.
Matt blowing the horn,
Yeah,
which was
and
so...
all the Padme
the
stuff.
Gollum.
Yeah, the
Gollum
of this series,
universe.
he really
Literally,
is.
there were
It's great.
we got a few POV chapters from Padme Fane where he's literally just like, that's my dagger.
Yeah.
And the one, I do think it's funny when Rand and Loial and Huron end up stealing the dagger and the Horn of Valyr from Padme Fane. So easy. It's very easy somehow. And then afterwards we get Padme Fane POV and he's like, how did he steal my dagger? I'm so mad at him for stealing my dagger. Very funny. Very, like, unnecessary character.
He's great.
I think he's written very well.
Yeah.
Because he's, I don't want to say, it's not funny, but like, it's a little bit funny.
Yeah.
It's a little bit funny.
Yeah, it's a little funny.
So the final battle I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that whole sequence is...
It was really cool.
intense.
It took me a minute reading it of being like, we're in the clouds?
Mm-hmm.
We're in the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're seeing Falm, we're seeing these people fight, and it's Rand and Bialzman fighting in the clouds. Dope.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. I thought that was a really cool fight. I also thought the fight before that with Rand and Turok was very cool, a little bit underwhelming in a way,
Sure.
I think, but what I really enjoyed about it was the languaging of it, how Rand in his head was using the terms of all of the training moves that Lan had given him, and I can't think of any of them now, but they're really pretty flowery terms for different, very kind of like yogic Tai Chi type terms for fighting, and I thought that the way it was strung together was really beautiful and really cool. And I did get a little bit confused of like, okay, Rand he just did it. He's dead now. I was not ready for that. It didn't feel like it was gonna happen.
He won?
Rand just won when this guy is very obviously a swordsman and Rand is not. But I do think I was a little bit distracted by the flowery language, so I kind of was buying it, that like, okay, maybe he's like really flowing with it.
Sure.
And I do really like, I don't know if I brought this up in the first one, but I love Rand's void journey.
Void.
Like the way that he can access it so quickly. Like how he just is like, well, I got it. Like the void is here. Like it just came, and I'm like, as someone who has attempted to meditate, I'm like, damn. Well, he's real good. It's like real there, really available to him. And obviously it's not always, but I do find that metaphor really interesting, and I love that way of thinking about how Rand is able to put himself in that meditative state without really realizing he's doing it. And I'm assuming that's a Tam thing that Tam taught him how to do.
Yes. I was going to say, where do you think he learned all that?
Once
Tam
again, Tam is also more Tam.
You learn little bits and pieces of how cool Tam is
as
time goes on.
I love Tam from literally sentence 1. I think he's like, we meet him in like the first paragraph of the first book. Love Tam. He's great. Archer Hawkwing and all of the heroes. I like that we had some ladies in there. That was awesome.
Bridget, I don't know, Silver.
Yeah, yeah. She was sassy and great.
Yep.
I liked that we got a little bit of those characters. Like actually, they actually had a voice to them, rather than just being like, okay, these ghosty characters came and fought our battle for us. I was also a little bit sad that Archer Hawkwing started giving Rand the credit. He's like, well, you blew the horn. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Matt did. Matt's in charge of the horn. It wasn't Rand.
It wasn't supposed to be Matt, though.
But Matt did it.
Yeah.
He should get the credit.
I don't think Matt wants it.
I like Matt.
Matt's the best. I think he's probably my favorite of the Emmonsfield.
I'm intrigued to get more Matt.
Yeah, I think Matt's got some really fun journeys and plot lines that he goes through over the course of these books that I quite enjoy. All right, so overall, if you had to rate this book, what would you give it, and what would you use to rate it? I have an idea, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Horns.
Yeah, horns.
Horn of Valir.
There it is, Horn of Valir. There it is, perfect, of course.
How many horns?
How many horns would you give it?
It feels a little layered for me. Because I was more intrigued by this book than I was by the first one.
Great.
But it was also very slow for me, personally.
Yes.
So I think I'd give it a 3.5. I was really, I kind of wanted to give it a higher rating because I did like this one a lot more, and I liked a lot of certain plot points and passages a lot more, and was actually very excited to read this one, which I didn't feel as much in the first one. So I wanted to give it a higher rating, but it moved really slow. So bringing it down to 3.5.
I'm really interested to see how you deal with certain some of the middle books in the series. There's a part called the Slog, and a lot of the things that happen in the Slog, some of them you're really not going to like, but some of them are like really focused on some of the characters you really like. So I'm interested to see how that affects you.
Maybe I'll be the only one who loves the Slog. Who knows?
Maybe. I would give this book a 4.5 out of 5 Horns of Valir. I definitely think this whole book is a step up from the first one.
Yeah.
And particularly the entire ending sequence in Fall, I think, is fantastic and really keeps you on the edge of your seat.
It does.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this content. And let us know in the comments down below if you agree with mostly Liz's opinions.
If you're really mad at me because I don't like Rand, that's okay.
Or if we've
tell me why. Let me know why.
Yeah.
You love
give us reasons why you love Rand. If we've said anything that was obviously wrong in the video, also let us know in the comments down below and publicly shame us, please. Thank you.
No, my opinions can't be wrong. They're opinions.
No, I meant like facts or names.
Oh, yeah, names, I'm sure.
Yeah, if we messed anything up, let us know in the comments down below.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on our next adventure.